Hey, what's up guys? John here again. So in today's video I'm going to be changing the rear differential on my Dodge Viper GTS ACR. So I'm going from the 307, the stock gear ratio, and the stock pumpkin, or I guess you call it, or differential housing, to the Mopar Performance 373 gears. So it's a brand new unit from Mopar. I managed to score it off somebody that's been hiding it for a while, I guess, in their garage because they no longer sell them anymore. So I'm going to show you guys how I put that in, and we'll go from there.
Alright, so we're going to remove the exhaust first. It disconnects here on the boiler system, and then up here we have another disconnect. So let's go ahead and remove that, and then we'll go on to the next step. Alright, so after a big pain in the ass, the exhaust is off, and now we're going to take out the half shafts. Those are 8mm bolts on both sides. I'll remove those, and then we can start on the diff mounts. And also the drive shafts, actually, those are the same thing, 8mm bolts. So we'll remove all three of those connections, and then we can do the mounts. Alright, so here's where we are. We have both half shafts disconnected and the drive shaft disconnected. We just have to remove these big bolts here that hold on this, I think they call it batwing or some shit like that. So that has to be removed, and then these two bolts here, and then this thing should fall out. So let's do that. Bam, hits me right on the face. Knocks my teeth out. Alright, so let's get the other one loose. Ooh, good thing I have this. Eee. Nobody on YouTube.
Need a bigger pipe.
Need a bigger Johnson.
I think we all do.
I think you gotta, you know what you have to do is you have to get out of there.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, you would die in here.
I might have more room.
Say I'm fat.
You're almost out there?
Yeah.
And we'll do the same thing going in.
Badass, man.
Alright, we got this dirty ass diff out of here. It was a pain in the ass, but lo and behold, it is out. So, let's go ahead and give this a rinse and then swap that cover over. So, what I'm gonna have to do is first drain the fluid out of this. This has really expensive royal purple fluid in it right now, but obviously it's of no use because I have to swap this cover, this batwing cover, onto that differential. I also have to take this mount, and I'm gonna take the drain bolts, or not the drain bolt, but the fill bolt off the side. It's gonna probably transfer to that one. Other than that, I've got some other new plugs and stuff that I'm gonna put in that one, but first let's go ahead and drain the oil out of this one, and then we can get started on swapping stuff over and getting it all ready. Alright, so we have the old diff, or original diff, on the left, and the new Mopar Performance diff on the right. So let's go over some of the key differences that I can just visually see.
First things first is the bolts. The bolts are apparently upgraded to a larger diameter on this Mopar Performance diff and the newer Vipers. So I guess some of these were shearing or something of that sort. So these bolts, you can see it with the shadow. Yeah, these bolts, the heads of them at least, I didn't take any of them out, but definitely look different. So these bolts look different than that one. I don't know if this matters, but the actual size of the ring gear, you can see that the distance between here and here looks a lot more shallow than this one. This one looks a lot beefier. So I don't know if that's just the gear ratio. I'm not a huge gear guy or know a ton about differentials, but yeah, I definitely see a bit of difference there. So just the way the gears are cut or the size of this ring gear, I guess the depth of it or whatever you want to call this spec, that looks like it's a lot thicker on this one. And then of course the obvious difference is the ability to put on a differential cooler. So this one has this port on the top, whereas the original one has nothing. So yeah, this extra port to be able to spit fluid back in from some sort of pump from a cooler. This one has this port embossed in here. This one has absolutely nothing there. So that's one of the key differences. And then of course on the bottom, if you can see this here with the light, this one has, you can probably see there, this one has holes drilled in the bottom, has 2 holes there. So these 2 holes, one of them's for draining, the other one's supposed to be the return or the pickup. I guess it would be the pickup for the oil cooler. So this one has those 2 already in it. And this one, as it pukes all over the floor, the remaining fluid, this one just has somebody's custom job that they put a bolt in the bottom. So yeah, this one has that, but yeah, this one comes with it standard. So let's go ahead and swap over the cover, swap over the mount that goes on the back portion, or I guess the front portion towards the, relative to the front of the car. So this mount and then the cover, and then we can start getting stuff assembled here. Okay, so I'm going to remove the excess RTV just with this flat razor. And of course, if you're going to do this, if you don't already know, you want to go flat with the surface. You don't want to try and dig in or scratch this. So. Okay, so my product of choice for RTV type sealants is using the right stuff. We used to use this in a race shop they used to work at, and they used to use this on all their Pro Street and Easy Street cars, and it's really good stuff. So I'm going to use this to seal up the diff. Both mating surfaces are clean. I've removed the gasket that was on the existing old cover. This obviously didn't have any gasket on it, but I still used brake clean just to make sure that the surface was free of oil, and same with this. So they're both clean and ready to apply the right stuff, and then we can go ahead and throw the bolts in for the cover. Okay, so the diff cover is on, that's ready to go, and now I'm going to install the rear mount. So the rear mount consists of this piece, 2 bolts, and then just the hardware, the nuts and some washers. So let's go ahead and put this on, and then we'll continue. Okay, so next I have 3 plugs. Well, I actually have 4 in my hand, but I need 3 plugs for the oil cooler lines and the drain plug. So they're all a 3/8 plug. So I bought these kind of fancy ones, whatever you want to call them, AeroQuip ones, similar to Earl's, whatever. But I wrapped them in Teflon, so the Teflon's gonna seal it. And I'm gonna have to plug this side one and the 2 ones on the bottom. So I'm gonna use 3 in total. I got 1 spare, obviously. So let's go ahead and install these. Okay, so next, just for simplicity's sake, since it's out of the car, it's easy to fill from up here, obviously. I'm going to fill the diff with fluid. You definitely want to make sure on this particular year, 2000 at least, that you add the Mopar limited slip additive. Some people get away with just running an oil that has limited slip in it. I'm just going to run this Valvoline full synthetic for now. I'm only gonna run this for maybe 300, 500 miles just to break it in, and then I'm gonna dump it out. So I'll probably go with a better quality oil then. I mean, this isn't garbage by any means. I think it's probably factory fill in a lot of vehicles, but it's not the most expensive stuff either. But like I said, it's just gonna be for break-in, and then I'm probably gonna get a more expensive one at the same time. But definitely a quality fluid. Of course, it's gonna be 75 weight, 140 that you're gonna want to put in. This one says it has limited slip additive, but I'm still gonna add the Mopar one. Like I said, again, there's mixed opinions. Some people say they use limited slip oil and they're fine. Some people say they have to use additive, so I'm gonna do both. It's not gonna hurt to have this extra little bit in there. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna put this in first, and then I'm gonna add oil after, because I don't want to put the oil in first and then I don't have enough room for that. So this is supposed to take, I think, 1,300 milliliters or so. So should take a bottle and a half of this or so.
Okay, so we have the diff installed, the mid shaft or hatch shafts are installed, drive shaft is in. We have all brand new Spicer end caps or U-joint caps installed. And now we're just doing the exhaust. I got a buddy helping me too, and we're just slipping on the Borla exhaust, and that's pretty much it for the diff.
Okay, so I want to review the BC coilovers, BC Racing coilovers, and why they're better than most of the other options that you can get, or at least some of the options. So you can actually adjust the ride height by changing the body length. So this here, this lock color, locks the lower shock fork, and what that does is basically you can change the length of the shock without affecting the preload that you apply to the spring. So a lot of coilovers, they'll have you change the preload on the spring to adjust ride height, which basically doesn't give you any preload. These ones are different because they allow you to adjust the height with maintaining preload. Also, you have your clicker here on the top, soft to hard, just very easy to use.
Okay, so the diff is in, everything's tight, exhaust is in, half shafts are in, everything else that we loosened is back in, and it is done. So this is the finished product. Got the new Mopar Performance diff installed. Exhaust is back in, and now I just got to put the wheels back on.
Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that video on how to install the diff. Stay tuned as well, because I'm going to have review videos for the diff and how I think it drives and how it performs after the fact. So subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
What we do here is go back.